Good day everyone. Today I'll be discussing the CRI 184 or the Juvenile Delinquency and Juvenile Justice System. This is based on my understanding and on my research. So the first historical background of juvenile delinquency in juvenile justice system is the Code of Hammurabi. So ang the Code of Hammurabi kay mo ni siya diri ni siya nakabutang ang katong an eye for an eye. So usa ni siya kabalaod naghihimo ni King Hammurabi nga gibutang niya sa usa ka stone nga pillars, dagko na siya. Tapos nagto niya ang gibutang ang law nga kung mangawat man ang tawo or na sila gikuha, kailangan mahatag po na nilag balik kay if dili nila hatagan or mabaryan og kwarta kay pwede kanila putlan og kamot. Tas if same class lang mo like dili kayo dato, pantay ra ang pagtrato sa inyo. Kasi dayon pag dato man ka dato tas imong gikuan ang imong gikawat siguro imong napi kay mga pobre kay pwede nay dako nga chance nga dako ka og kuan like kaning punishment. Tas it was important because it tried to make laws fair and clear for everyone. So ang pangkatulo kay children only law, kani nga law diri nagsugod ang mga tawo nga mag-care sa mga bata. So ang states naka-decide nga maghimo og usa ka balaod para sa mga bata nga protektahan kini tapos labaw na sa mga child labor. Ang pangkaupat kay we have 1916 Keating-Owen Act. So this act was the first big attempt by the US Congress to stop child labor. So kanina nga act diri nila gipahunong daw ang child labor, ang nagpahunong kay ang US. And then although it was changed a couple 4 years later, it helped set the stage for future laws. Then so the next one is child saving movement. This law usa ni siya nagtuo sila nga ang bata kay gipanganak daw nga puutan. Then if possible nidako daw nga lain na daw batasan. Then ang pasabot ani kay tungod ni silang surroundings kay og lain lang palibot malain po na ang bata. So they formed a group tas ilang rescuehon na ang mga bata. For module 2 of CRI 184, the juvenile. A juvenile refers to an individual. Usa ni siya ka individual ang juvenile nga wala pa nakabot og age nga 18. So kaning mga juvenile mo ni siya ang mga 17 years below. It says that this term encompasses children. So mo man siya mga bata pa ni sila, mga adolescents, minors, youth or individuals below of the age of 18. Typically, juveniles are considered to be immature. So wala pa sila yung mga buot, with their mental and emotional faculties not fully developed. So kaning mga juvenile kay mo ni sila kanang wala pa na fully develop ilang paghuna-huna, munang immature pa sila. Consequently, so dili tanan mga minors nga mga immature. Consequently, they may lack the capacity to assume the complete responsibility for their action. Next is delinquent. A delinquent is someone who repeatedly engages in criminal behavior. So ang kaning delinquent kay usa ni siya ka person nga or someone nga nagsigig balik-balik og buhat ana nga butang, like repeatedly engages like sa mga criminal behavior para ng mga bata or mga tawo nga nay sakit like kleptomania, like katong pagpangawat dili siya ka pugong siyang kaugalingon nga mangawat. So sakit guna siya sa bata, like dili niya mapugngan ang pagpangawat. So we have it is possible that they may also have underlying mental disorders and behavioral issues such as schizophrenia, PSTD or post-traumatic stress disorder or bipolar disorder. Ang bipolar kay mo ni siya duha ka personality na ay butang ug napoy dili butang, na ay good na ay bad. Tas it can also refer to a person regardless of age whose attitudes towards others, the community and lawful authority is such that it may lead them to violate law. Tungod ani nila nga batasan kay kuan nila ang law, like kanang ma-break nila. Next is juvenile delinquency. So ang juvenile delinquency usan siya ka criminal actions carried by individuals who are considered as juveniles. So akong i-explain gyud ang juvenile delinquency. Usa ni siya ka mga minors nga commit og crime. Muna siya mong gitawag nga juvenile delinquency. It pertains to acts lang gihimo, behavior lang pamatasan executed by norms that deviate from accepted societal, like dili accept sa society ang ilang batasan, regulations, customs, and cultural expectation. These acts warrant admonishment, punishment, or corrective measures in the public interest. Next is deviant behavior. So ang deviant behavior, usa ni siya ka actions nga wala na ayon sa society. Like kanang mga gihimo nga dili sakto, like kanang mga rayot-rayot sa mga bata, nga kanang maglabay-labay lagkalit og mga botilya kay lagi tungod kay siguro isog sila para sa ila isog na og fail to meet the expectation of the community or group or as a whole society. Then juvenile crime in legal terms, it encompasses various offenses committed by individual who are under the age of 18. So, juvenile offenses can include delinquent acts would be considered as crime committed by adults. So, pwede niya siya makuha sa mga adults. Then, we have the 5 unlawful acts committed by juveniles. We have the unlawful acts against property, unlawful acts against personal or persons, then drug and alcohol offenses, and offenses against public order and legal offenses. So, what is status offenses? So, ang status offenses, kay mo ni siya ang juveniles siya yung makakumit ani. They're adjudicated exclusively by juvenile courts. And we have the stages of delinquency. First, emergence. Ang bata magsugod na siya pagpangawat sa edad nga 8 padulong 12 years old. Larceny mo na siya ang simple term or ang other term sa theft and exploration. He or she then may move on to shoplifting. So ang shoplifting like kanang pagpangawat na siya sa mga market or mga mall o like kanang mga baligya. And vandalism, magsulat-sulat sa mga places nga bawal sulatan between the age of 12 to 14. Explosion, at the age of 13, there is a substantial increase in variety and seriousness. So kanina nga stage diri na sila mag-seryoso daw. Then next or last, the conflagration. At around 15, so sa edad nila nga 15, 4 or more types of crime na ang ilang ginabuhat. So we have the classification of delinquency. First, we have unsocialized aggression. Children who are rejected. So ang kani, muni ang mga bata nga gi-abandon and gi-reject sa ilang parents, dayon nahimo silang aggressive, mong nahimo na nilang acts. They became aggressive because they were abandoned or rejected by their parents. Second is socialized delinquency. This is the membership or muna diri na sila mag-apil-apil og mga fraternities nga dili maayo. Membership of fraternities or groups that advocated bad things. Over-inhibited mo ni siya ang usa ka grupo nga mag-train og mga bata para makabalo sila og tanom or magtanom og mga marijuana, dayon tudluan pud sila og mga unsaon paggamit og mga pusil og maghimo og mga illegal weapons or guns. Pathway to delinquency, authority conflict pathway. Muna siya mga children at young or early age begin to show stubborn. So, kaning mga kuan kay magginay na sila, diri na magginay sila ulo tungod silang pagkasupakiro ilan nang na violate ang usa ka balaod or unsa na nga balaod. Covert pathway, it begins with minor deceitful behavior. From the word nga covert, dili pa makita, so napa siyang behavior that leads to property damage. Siguro like kanang iya pang gikuantas pero naka-damage na siya property. Covert, pinatago. So ang overt nakita na. Overt pathway, it will start with minor aggression, kasuko, then napadulong sa away, physical fighting, and then to violence. Next is type of delinquent youth. Type of delinquent, we have socialized delinquents. Socialized delinquent, as a result of their social association with people what they learn. Muni siya ang mga minors nga na himong delinquent tungod sa ilang social, silang mga nakuyog, neurotic, youth who became delinquents as a result of personal and perception. Next is psychotic delinquents. Muni siya like naka-experience ang mga juveniles o mga hallucination. Next is sociopathic delinquents. Muni siya ang mga youth who are characterized by egocentric or difficult of understanding personality. They have no limited or no compassion for other. Environmental delinquents, they are occasional panalagsarang nga mo break sa balaod. Psychiatric delinquents, they are youth who became delinquents due to mental tungod silang pangunahuna na kuan sila ana mga juveniles nga na mga sakit sa utok, tas nakakuan sila mga balaod nga bawal ma break. Occasional mo siya yung mga panalagsa delinquents, they participate in group, mga nagparticipate ilang himuon ug unsay himuon sa uban. Maladjusted activity stems, mo siya ang personality nga kuan tungod sa ilang kuan ilang poverty kay murag makumit na nila. Then gang delinquents mo ang mga serious nga most serious infraction often sent to institutional courts. So ang gang mo siya ang mga grupo-grupo. And youth gang, usa ni siya ka self-forming union peers nga bound together by mutual interest. From the word nga youth, mga batanon nga mag grupo-grupo. We have the characteristics of gangs, organization. Ang organization mo ni siya usa ka gang nga na sila'y goal. Then next is leadership. Nani sila ang leadership, ang gang kay na sila'y leader. Then ang turf or territory na sila'y mga panimalay like lanang teritoryo anani. Pwede siya sa mga parks, mga dagat or mga housing projects. Then cohesiveness, kamo ni siya mga like mga gangs very close or tight-knit. Then ang gang suppression mo ni ang mag-suppress sa usa ka mag-gang para dili sila maka-kuan sa mga dili sila maka-apekto sa mga tao or kuan sila ma-prevent. Next is module 3. Module 3, supernatural theory. Muni siya ang kaning nga theory kay nagtuo sila nga ang mga delinquency kay nagsugod ay nakuan daw tungod sa mga demonic possession. Nituo sila nga nabuhat ra daw na nila nga butang kay tungod kay nasapian sila. And then classical theory mo ni siya ang nag-impose ani kay si Cesar Beccaria and si Jeremy Bentham, which centers around the utilitarian perspective. According to this view, individuals assess the potential benefits and drawback of their future action before making a decision. Then, ang criminologists, classical uphold belief that individual are rational and intelligent being. Like ang classical theory, school theory, kay na sila'y panghuna-huna nga ilanang nabuhat, like na sila'y kaalaman. Hedonism, a doctrine that pleasure as the ultimate good in life. Like lagi example from the word pleasure, tungod na pleasure sila kay tungod kay nakuha na or na-achieve na nilang nga goal. And general deterrence muni ang kuan, like kuanan sila sa mga tao para tambagan para di na nila mabuhat ana nga kuan crimes. The specific deterrence kay muni ang mga fear of instilled wrongdoers, making them less. Muni ang kuan ihatag sa mga punishment sa mga delinquents para dili na sila makausab o commit ana nga crime. Incapacitation muni siya, ikulong sila para di na sila musab. Retribution o unsay makuha ana nila, ay like example kay kumo na nga crime ang ilang gikuha, dapat inana pod nga kuan punishment ang ilang mahatol sa ilaha. Next is neoclassical. Strongly argued that severity of the classical, it did not take into account why people commit crime. Instead, all people were held equally responsible for their behavior. Those who commit similar crimes. This theory also states that people are not the same. So, ang neoclassical nag-ingon siya nga dili daw pare-pareho ang mga tao. And then we have the body type and crime. We have ang nagkuana ni kay si William Sheldon suggested that there was a relationship between the body build and temperament, which known as somatotype theory. He believed that human body consisted with 3 components. So ang tulo ni ectomorph mo ni ang katong niwangon, linearity and frailty. Ang pangkaduha kay mesomorph mo ni siya ang mga masculine and skeletal massiveness. Then next is endomorph mo ni ang mga dagko, mga tambok. Self-temperament, he has the tendency toward plumpness. And next is heredity and crime. IQ and heredity examine the relationship between the heredity and the crime centered on the intelligence. Ano siya mga IQ, like namana daw nila sa mga nunuan ang ilang mga IQ. Then ana si Henry Goddard sa una nga sa historical study nga 70% daw ang family sa mga kalikaks kay feeble-mindedness. It means like slow learners daw sila, dili bugo. Dayon ana si Charles Darwin nga was largely responsible for the shift in thinking about crime, focused on the act to the actor. Then ang kaning physiognomy ana si G. Battiste de la Porte nga famous ba ang phrenology, come from the Greek word mind, and logos means knowledge. Theory nga so they formed a groups to rescue kids from bad homes and put them into better ones. So maghimon sila grupo dayon, kana sila nga grupo kay ilang ipang rescue ang mga bata nga sa usa ka mga panimalay nga like lain na gyud ang ilang kwan like bad influence. Next one is parents portray. This idea says the government has the right and duty to take care of kids who can take care of themselves. So ana sila nga ang gobyerno kay kung daw na duslay right, they have the right nga mag-take sa mga bata nga dili kabalo mo kuan pa siyang kagalingon siguro mo ning mga way buot. So ilan ning bantayan sila mag-atiman. Next is 1818. A report pointed out that young people committing crimes or juvenile delinquency was a major cause of poverty. So kaning 1880 mo ni siya dili na nga nagsugod ang mga minors who is 18 below or juvenile delinquency nga nakakommit sila og usa ka act tungod sa kapobrehon. And then this was the first time the term juvenile delinquency was officially recognized. So dili na naila ang juvenile delinquency sa 1818. Next is 1899. Illinois created this court para sa mga juvenile. So kani siya nga court kay iyaning ang mga juvenile instead of panisya niya iyaning tabangan to get better. The next one is medical model. For me, kay wala na ni siya pare-pareho sa child saving movement kay ang mga juvenile kay giila daw nila like para sila kay sakit daw ni sa mga bata tas kailangan nila og treatment para ma-cured sila, like for example ipalayo sila sa mga environment nga harmful para sa ila, ta sa mga socialize nga dili para mayo sila ug dili sila malabot or maapektuhan. Then kaning medical model, we have for these of juvenile during the last half of the 20th century. We have this the institutionalization. Then ang the institutionalization, trying to keep kids of institutions like reform schools as much as possible. Second D is diversion, finding ways to keep kids who commit minor offenses out of formal court system. The third is due process, making sure young people have fair legal rights. The fourth is discriminalization, making certain behaviors that were once considered crimes, especially for kids or juveniles, no longer illegal. Next, we have the three factors that have been traced earlier as youth services programs. The first is the police involvement, how much the police are involved in these programs. Second, counseling, using counseling and legal system. The third is skill-based training, teaching skills as a part of training and treatment. Next is the House of Corrections for Juvenile Delinquency. So, we have Bride Wells. Usa ni siya kaprisuhan sa mga prisuhan ni siya nga early prison in England that pareho giusa ang adults o ang that house. Usa ni siya ka. So, ang Bridewells, muna siya ang early prisons in England. They have confined both children and adults considered to be idle and disorderly. So, usa ni siya ka-prison nga giusa ang adults and children. Second is Hospice of San Michel, established in Rome. It was one of the first places to focus on treating young offenders. So, kani siya nga prison kay ilang i-prioritize ang pag-treatment sa mga young offenders. Ang third kay House of Refuge, opened in New York in 1825. It was a place for young people who were convicted of crimes of found wandering the streets. So, ang kani siya nga prisons na-open ni siya sa New York in 1825. Usa ni siya ka-place sa mga young offenders nga na priso kay tungod sa mga crimes and found wandering on the streets. Next is significant cases concerning juvenile delinquency. Henry Winship. This case said that in juvenile court, a young persons have to be proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, just like in adult court. Next is Breed versus Jones. A young person can't be tried in juvenile courts and then tried again for the same crime in adult court. That is double jeopardy, which is against the law. And next is Kent versus United States. This case set up the rules for moving a case from juvenile court to adult court. This case said that young people in juvenile court have the same basic rights as adults, like the right. Next is Enrico in 1967. This case said that young people in juvenile court have the same basic rights as adults, like rights to have an attorney, right to know the charges against them, and the right to remain silent. The American Bar Association suggested that some things that kids do should not be considered crimes unless adults would also be charged for doing them. Shaw versus Martin in 1984. The Supreme Court said that states can hold young people in preventive detention if they think the kids might be dangerous. This is supposed to protect society and the kids themselves. So in Module 5, lesson titled Theories of Crime and Delinquency, Psychoanalytical, Behavioral, Cultural Deviance, Strain, Social Cultural Labeling. So in summary, kay diri na kuan si id, si ego, o si superego. So, si id, it's present at the birth. It represents the basic biological and si id. So, in short, si id, muna siya mo ganahan like, kana akong gusto, like, kana wants. Then, si ego, it grows from id's represent. So, si ego muna siya mo direct like mo kuan ni
aid mo like mo support represent the problem solving dimension. It deals with the reality different from it teaches children to delay gratification like siguro kung si id like bisag unsa yung kanon si ego kay like kani dili kay like siya mo kuan ni id then si super get developed from ego and the moral code. So si super go in short mo ni siya si conscience or mo ni siya magkuan nga kanay buhaton or dili. Then we have sa module 6 tinin nato makuan lesson title female delinquency theories. So siya ni from the word nga female sa mga babae ni siya. So nakauna kay si Freud interior girl arising primarily anatomic in fear of women and their inability to educate the electoral complex. Envy, desires, revenge lead to girls to act out. Then, next is Thomas, an adjusted girl. Thomas was postulated the males and females biological, how they approach fulfillment with their wishes. Marcy's theory. They combine the notions of different oppression theory. So, na siya mga 4 ka kuan sa female delinquency. We have the Freud's inferior girl, Thomas adjusted girl, Pollack's deceitful girls, differential oppression, Marxist. Then, module 7, kay the factors and causes of juvenile delinquency. Family factors, muna siya mga family dysfunction, including parental neglect, abuse, physical, emotional, or sexual. Or inconsistency, muna siya ang lack of parental, like, dili kay masubaybayan sa mga parents ang ilang mga bata, involvement of a child's life. Next is peer influence, from the word peer, like mga nakapalibot sa mga association with delinquents, peers who engage in them. Muna siya mga kauban sa mga bata nga dili angay niya o ganon like makadaot yun sa iya. Socio-economic factors, poverty and limited access to resource. Muna siya tungod sa kapobrehon nahimo na sa mga bata like ang pagpangawat o tungod kay gigutom sila niya. Atay mahimo ako lang man jud nilang mga. Then pangkaupat kay mga school factors, low academic engagement and school dropout of truancy mo na mag-lead sa mga bata nga may muslang mag-rebuild sila like ilan ang kontrahon kini kana din individual factors, mental health issues kung naa gani may mga problema imong ipang-check dili ka maunsa. Dayon 6 is community and environment, high crimes neighborhoods with limited social support and resources. So muna to.
So good day everyone. In this part, I'll be discussing the CRI 200 or Question Document Examination. In Module 1, lesson targets is documents. Learning targets. At the end of the module, students are able to explain the different general terminologies and general question document. Number 2, discuss the legal aspect of document. Number 3, differentiate the different kinds of exam documents. The first one is document. Document is any material containing marks, symbols, or either visible or visible. So, ang kaning document, usa ni siya ka kuan nga naay mga symbols, marks, o mga unsa pa like for example anang mga document sa nimo sa schools, tas mga papers nga nag-contain og mga symbols or letters. Present ultimately or convey a meaning to someone. Like for example, o siya sa ka document nga convey sa usa ka tawo. Maybe in the form of pencil, pwede siya pencil imong paggamit, pwede sa ink writing, tas typewriting, or printing on paper. So, ang document, ma-applied ni siya sa writings, to words printed, lithographed or photographed, to maps or plans, to seal, nakaseal, tas plates or even stones, nasa mga bato-bato, on which inscriptions are cut or engraved na baon. In its plural form, documents may means deeds, kasabutan, agreements, title, letters, receipts, and other written instrument to prove a fact. Muna siya ang document. So in a Latin word, documentum means lesson or example. And then sa medieval Latin, it means instruction or official paper. Sa French word naman kay we have docere, which means to teach. Question: any material with some issue has been raised or which under the scrutiny or to search, kailangan siya tagag attention. Then, sa question, document in which the facts appearing therein may not be true, kailangan siya pansin kay naay mga mali anak nga document and are contested either in the whole or part with respect to its authenticity, identity, or origin, ug asa siya nagikan. It may be a deed, contract will, election ballots, marriage contract, check, visas, application form, check writer, and certificates, and etc. Let's proceed to standard or standard document. Are condensed and compact offset of authentic specimens with usa ni siya ka documents like carbon copy and then napud siya original. Tas dira ilhang kung asay original sa fake. Standard in question documents investigation mean those things whose origins nagikan ni si standard are known and can be proven with which can be legally used as examples to compare with other matters in question. So si exemplar mo siya ang standard form or older term sa standard. Then si holographic document, usa ni siya ka document nga isaray signed by one person, also known as holograph. In a number of jurisdictions, a holograph can be probated with anyone having witnessed its executed. So, ang kani siya nga document kay like kanang gimo siya sa usa ka tawo nga walay nakita kanang siya ra isa tas na siya gibutang nga name nga gimalhan nga sa iya siya gusulat. For example, katong gisulat ni Jose Rizal nga no limitang here, walay nakita pero nay nakabut yang gibutngan sa iyang pangalan timalhan nga siya ang gasulat ato. Dagad pa na sila silang Plaridel o mga uban pang hero. Next, we have the reference collection. Material compiled and organized by the document examiner to assist him in answering special questions. Ano siya nga document? Kaya, muna siya ang document like kung unsay mo pangitao na nadira, for example, dictionary. Dayan, reference collection of typewriting, check writing specimens, inks, pens, pencil, and papers are frequently maintained. Usa na ka-example na dictionary or mga libro na nag-contain o mga organized, compiled and organized. Next, we have the kinds of documents. So natin mga kinds of documents, we have public document, private document, official document, commercial document, and last is electronic document. So ato ni silang ipang-explain nung isa ilang mga meaning tag isa-isa. So ang first kind of documents kay we have public document. So ang kaning public document ginotarize din siya sa notary public or competent public official with solemnities required by law. So, ang example ani kay ang birth certificate nato. Second is official document. This is issued by the government or its agent or officer. having the authority to do so, and the offices, which in accordance with their creation, they are authorized to issue and not issued in the performance of their official duty. So, ang example aning official document kay like kanang mga national ID nato nagpamatuod nga ikaw gina taga diri ka sa Pilipinas or you are a Filipino citizen. Third is private document executed by a private person without the intervention of notary. So, private from the word private, kamo-kamora. So, example, ani kay kanang imong mga diary o mga personal message nga sa imura intended ra para sa imuha o kanang mga message o mga letters nga ikaw ra gyud makabalo. Fourth is commercial document executed in accordance with the code of commerce or any mechanism. Example ani nga document kay mga receipt nagpamatuod nga nakuha na nimo nahimo. For example, like kanang mga pamalit nimo sa gaysano o mga usa mo ipamalit. And last is electronic document or e-document exists only in electronic form such as data stored. So from the word electronic, muna siyang mga nasa mga computer, network, backup, archive, or other storage and media. So example of this document kay subject to e-discovery, mga email, mga instant message, mga e-calendar, mga auto files, data on handheld mga devices, animation, meta, mga graphics, mga pictures, mga spreadsheets, mga website like mga gipang post. Ano siya ang electronic document. So, in short, ang public document, ang example ana kay imong birth certificate. Then, ang private kay mo na siya imong mga diary. Then, imong official kay mga national ID nga mga document. Then, ang commercial like mga resita or mga receipt gikan sa unsay imong mga gipang pamalit o mga unsa pang commercial document. Then, ang e-electronic makuha na siya sa mga devices na sa mga gamit mga electronic like mga emails, mga photograph o mga nasa website. So let's proceed and module 2. Lesson title, Historical Backgrounds. Lesson objectives, discuss the origin and development of paper. Number 2, identify the earliest kind of writing instrument and ink. Historical documents, so we have paper, are interlaced sheets or fibers, usually cellulose fibers from plants. So ang kanidang kuan paper kay daghan nun siya mga gipang gikanan gikan sa mga plants, but sometimes from cloth rags, mga trapo-trapo, or other fibrous materials that is formed by pulping the fibers and causing it to felt or mga mat to form a solid surface. Let's proceed to historical backgrounds of paper. First, we have the papyrus. It was used in 3,000-5,000 BC in Palestine, Syria, and Southern Europe. Use the pith or soft spongy tissue of the stem. Kanto nga nang sa mga udlot-udlot, tas kanang pinakahumok kay mo na lang gamiton nga mga papel or sa mga herbs, grass-like herbs. Then sa Cyperus papyrus, this is to make a writing material known as papyrus. Next is parchment, writing material nga ang ilang gigamit nga papel kay sa mga panit sa mga animals. Primarily sa mga sheep, calves like kanang mga anak sa mga kabaw mga baby. Goats probably developed in the Middle East more or less contemporaneously with papyrus. It came into wide use in 2nd century BC in the city of Pergamum in Anatolia. Next, vellum. Writing materials from ang kanisya ang kaliyaan sa parchment o vellum. Ang vellum kay mo ni siya ang mga skin, mga gigamit nila nga mga paper nagikan sa mga panit sa mga animals like mga bata-bata pa. Young cows or kids, and the term was often used of all kinds of parchment manuscripts.
Ha? Tuko kaget? Tuko kaget? Tuko.
Let's proceed to vellum continuation. It became the most important writing material for bookmaking. So, naging important siya para sa mga bookmaking. While parchment muna siya katong mga skin sa animals nga gigamit. Continued for special manuscripts. Then, kani si Chailun, muna siya ang usa ka first to succeed in making paper gamit ang mga vegetable fibers, tree barks like mulberry trees, rags, and old fish nettings. Ang gabuhatan na kay si Chai Lun. Ang pagkuhan kay Chai, pero ang iyang name kay Cailun. Pero ang pagbasa kay Chai Lun. The first practical machine was made in 1798 by French inventor Nicolas Louis Robert. So, ang nagkuhan daw sa pinakauna nga machine nga nahimo atong 1798 nga si Nicolas Louis Robert, usa ni siya ka French. Iyang nakuan kay ang first machine. Then the machine was reduced the cost paper. It supplants the hand molding process in paper manufacture. Then so Robert's machine was improved by the British practitioners and brothers by Henry Ford Greener and Celie Ford Greener. Nga nakuha natin 1803 produce. So ang katughimo nga machine ni Nicolas Louis Robert atong 1978 kay nay duha ka maigsuon nga British practitioner nga nag-improve sa iyang machine ni Nicolas. Ngayon, ang kaning nga mag-igsuon kay ni si Henry Ford Greener and si Celie Ford Greener. Nakuha nila ang machine na improve atong 1803, produced the first machine that bear with their name. Writing instrument, we have pen. It came from a Latin word penna, meaning feather. Muna siya ang usa ka tool for writing or drawing or a color fluid such as ink. So, kabalo ng gitaon sa mga pen. Usa ni siya ka bagay nga muagi. Usa ni siya ka pen nga naisulod ink. Usa ni siya ka bagay nga musulat o mo drawing with a color fluid such as ink or a writing instrument used to apply inks to the paper, and muna siya gitawag nga pen. So, ang pen nibs, this is a toe division point or which ang pen nibs makita ni siya sa pinakatumoy sa ballpen. Muna siya kung asa mo gawas ang ink, muna siya ang pen nibs. Let's proceed to historical background of pens. First, we have reed pens or swamp reed. It came from specially selected water grasses found in Egypt, Armenia, and along shores in the ocean were prepared by leaving them under the heaps for several months. So, ang gani siya nga gamit nila nga pangsulat kay usa ni siya ka murag kahoy tas ilaning chap-chapan para naihait sa taas then ilaning ibutang sa tubig like 24 hours prepared by leaving them under the drawing heaps for several months. It was the first tool, so muna siya pinakauna nga pen nato sa una that had writing and slightly frayed like a brush. About 2,000 years BC, this reed pen was first used in the Near East on papyrus and later on parchment. Next, we have quill pen. So, ang kaning quill pen, from the word nga quill, mun siya ang mga pen nga nagikan sa mga feathers. Sa mga feathers, like sa mga turkey, mga any kinds of birds, mga goose, swan, and crow. Ang quill pen was made by Spanish theologian Saint Isidore of Seville, and this tool was the principal writing implement in the nearly 3,000 years ago. So si reed pen kay 2,000 years BC, dayon si quill pen kay 1,300 years. Next is steel point pen or brazen pens, although pens of bronze have been known to the Romans. So, kani siya nga ball pen, isikat siya itong mga times sa mga Romans. Muni siya ang bronze na pen. The earliest mention of brazen pens, so, na-mention ni siya atong year 1465. In the 16th century, Spanish calligrapher Juan de Char mentions brass pen for very large writings in 1548 writing manual. Kani si steel point pen usa ni siya ka metal nga bronze nga ball pen. The first patented sa pen point was made by the English engineer Brian Duncan. Next, we have the fountain pens. It was year in 1884. Lewis Waterman, a New York insurance agent who patented the first practical fountain pen. So, ang nagkuhan daw aning pen nga fountain pens kay si Lewis Waterman. So, nindot pudno kay iyang gigamit ang iyang apelyido na timalahan nga siya juga patent or nagkuana na nga ballpen kay iya mangipangamlan nga fountain pens. The first practical fountain pen contained its own ink reservoir. So, nani siya ang usa ka pen kay nani siya ink sa iyang sulod. Waterman invented a mechanism that fed ink to the pen point by capillary action, allowing ink to flow even while writing. So, kada sulat manggawas daw ang mga ink. Muna ang pagbuhat ni Lewis Waterman sa fountain pen. Next is ballpoint pen. Ang nagkuhan kay si John Loud. So, ang kaning ballpoint pen kay mo ni siya itong mga uni nato or mga Honda or Honda nga ballpen like ang ballpen kay nana siya ang iyang pen needs kinay circle tas dira magtuyok-tuyok tagatuyok ana niya mugawas ang mga ink. Next is fiber tip pens. Muni siya mga pen nga ginagamit sa mga US, sa mga Japanese, kabantay mo ng mga sulat sa mga Japanese nga mura sila gapintal mo na ilang mga kuan sila ha, mga pen, silang mga tradition. So ang inventa ni nga pen nga fiber tip pens kay si Yukio Hori of Japan in 1962. It was ideally suited to the strokes of Japanese writings, which is traditionally done with a pointed ink brush. Last is felt tip markers made of dense natural or artificial fibers impregnated with a dye. Muna siya ang mga example ng felt tip pen kay mga pentel pen nato. So ink, ang ink usa ni siya ka fluid viscous marking material used for writing or printing. It is a gel, salt, or solution that contains at least one colorant. So, usara rin siya ka-color. Ang ink such as dye or pigment. So, natay mga kinds of ink. We have India inks, then iron gallonate ink, logwood ink, indelible ink, copying inks, secret ink or invisible, muna yung mga ginagamit sa mga kontra or sa mga spy. Then water resistant writing, muna siya ang usa ka pen nga dili basta-basta mabasa. And we have the alphabet, iconographs, muna siya ang mga koan ginagamit atong mga mga sinaunang tawo nga ilarang gi-carve sa mga bato. Then hydrographs, simple drawings like mga stick pa. Then pictograph, muna siya mga picture na. Hieroglyph, muna siya mga symbols and forms. For example, ng mga Egyptian, like kanang mga mata. Muna na yung mga symbol. Then ang cuneiform means, nana na sila na kakuha na sila mga shape. Next is module 3. The various aspects of question document examination and scientific method in the examination of question document. So we have different classes of question documents. The documents with question signature and question documents alleged to have been containing fraudulent alteration, questions, or disputed holographic wills, documents investigated on question of typewriting, and any pa. Then sa different divisions of question document examination, we have addition, mga dungag-dungagan sa usa ka document. Conclusion, scientific conclusion results from relating observed biological. Ano siya? Then sa document examiner, muna siya ang usa nga mo study scientifically sa document details to identify their source, kung asal ang document nagikan o ma-discover nila ang mga facts about that document. So mga erasure, mga gipang erase sa usa ka document. Mga examination, muna siya ang act making a close or critical study any material with question documents. Expert witness, muna siya ang mag-describe a witness who reasoned by his special training or which experience permitted to express opinion regarding the issue. Insertion or entailation, from the word nga insert, na sila mga gipang dungagan. Non-identification risk means that the source, authorship confirmed is standard. So, lahi-lahi daw. Opinion, qualification. So, natay ACE-V method aning question document examination. First, we have the analysis. First, i-analyze. Then, comparison, compare, evaluation, i-evaluate sila, then i-verify dayon para making sure that wala na ikuan mali. Then sa module 5, lesson title, Techniques in the Examination of Question Document. First, we have the microscopic examination, study which made the microscopic. So, ang gamit ani nila kay microscope to discover minutes physical details. So, makita nila like kung igilisan ba na makita gyud kay microscope man ang gamit, balag gamay pa kay na. Then transmitted light examination, the document viewed in the source of illumination behind and the light passing through the paper. Next is oblique light examination, an examination with the illumination control that it grays straights document from one side of the very low angle. Next is photographic examination, very essential in document examination, photographic picturean. Then ultraviolet examination is invisible and occurs in the wavelength. Muna siya, makita ni siya, balag dili na siya makita, then namita na siya ultraviolet, makita na dahil na siya. Then sa infrared examination, this examination of documents employs invisible radiation beyond the red portion of the visible spectrum. Next is module 6, instruments and apparatus used in question document examination. Mga instruments and apparatus nga gigamit sa question document examination. First, we have the magnifying glasses. Next is shadowgraph. Next, pangkatulo kay stereoscopic binocular microscope. Usa ni siya ka tri-dimensional enlargement of possible use in the following aspect to discover the defects in strokes, ang pag-usab sa mga letter or giun sa pag-usab sa mga usa ka letter, ang ilang stroke structure and typewriting, discovering the overlapping mga nangalapas, uneven wala nagpantay, overwriting nga sobraan, an ink in line cross in a fold, fraudulent mga gipang himo-himo and interlineation and erasures. Next is measurement and templates, ilang gina-measure para mailhan nila og asay mali. Table lamps with adjustable shades, transmitted light gadget, a device where light comes from beneath na sa ubos, nagikan ang suga. Para ng mga kwarta, mo na siya itapat sa init, makita nimo ang naog. Mo na siya ang original. Then next is ultraviolet lamp. This is usually used in detection of counterfeit bills, but can actually use to detect security features or qualified documents. Infrared viewer, primarily used to decipher writings in a shared document. And next is comparison. From the word comparison, i-compare siya nga microscope. Compare siya, so duha ni siya ka microscope. Similar to the bullet comparison. Video spectral comparator, used in the examination of masked or obliterated text, watermarks, visible fluorescence, paper fluorescence, and oblique illumination of intended writing, and embossing features in tagly used scripts. Next, electrostatic detection apparatus is muna siya ilang mga i-detect ang mga indentation, mga space, indented writings. Then ang last kay camera. Muna siya ang usa ka light tight box to hold the photographic film. Then sa module 7, procedures in the utilization of the equipment in apparatus. So, these tools can be grouped into 6 categories. we have the basic measuring tools, magnification, magnifiers or microscope, light sources, special instrument, photography, and computer. So good day everyone. Today I'll be discussing the module or CRR 164, the professional conduct and ethical standards. So first, let's talk about the history of ethics, or what is ethics? Ethics comes from the Greek word ethos, which means character. It's all about figuring out the right and wrong behavior. So, the history of ethics. We have the classical period. There is a classical period. The people are focused on using logic and being a good person. Next is the Middle Ages. This stage or the history, religion became very important in deciding what's moral. Third is early modern period. People started talking about personal rights and for rules for society. Next is the 19th century. The idea was to mail as many is to make as many people happy and as possible and the last is the contemporary period. So today's generation or history, there are a lots of different ideas like focusing on personal freedoms or questioning if there is one right to live. So let's proceed to the ethics that divided into four areas. We have meta-ethics. So meta-ethics, it analyzes the meaning of moral values. The next is descriptive ethics. Deals with study of ethics related to psychology. Normative ethics, this is the study of moral course of action. Last is applied ethics. It tells us how we can achieve moral outcomes. And what is ethics and values? So, values are what people or try to get or what people want. O, ang values mo na siya ang unsay gusto sa people o unsay ilang ganahan. Values is our belief atong mga tuo-tuo. Values are our ideas, ang atong mga ideas that are nga important sa ato. Then, let's proceed to properties of values. So let's proceed to the properties of values. We have values are subjective. Values are subjective. Muna siya ang nagdepend sa atong feelings. Then next is values are relative. Muna siya ang natay mga limits. Next is bipolar. Values are bipolar. Exist with opposite. Bipolar from the word bipolar kay mo ni siya like na kay lahi nga kuan personality or kuan na duha ka kuan, so opposites. Hierarchical mo ni siya ranked by importance. In short, ethics is about the right and wrong, kung unsay sakto o dili, while values kay muna siya ang what we considered unsay importante. So let's proceed to the key differences between ethics and values. So ethics are guidelines for conduct. So muni siya ang mag-guide sa tuwa. They help us to judge what's more important. So maghatag sila o dalan para makabuluta unsay sakto or dili. Then values strongly influence our thinking and motivate us to act. So muni ang values maghatag og strongly influence thinking and motivate Then ethics is a system of moral principle, while values influence our emotions and actions. Kung unsa atong mga emotions o unsa to i-action mo na siya si values. Then si ethics are consistent, whereas values may different for each other. Ethics help us decide what's morally correct. So ang ethics mo na yung magtudlo sa to og unsay angay sakto nga buhaton, while values tell us what we want to do in life. So si value mo na siya moingon sa ato og unsa atong buhaton sa atong kinabuhi. Then ethics determines our options, while values determine our priorities. And then here are the summary about text about ethics, law, ethics and law. So ethics muna siya ang guidelines sa to for right conduct. Helps us so si ethics muna siyang usa ka guidelines ato for right conduct based on principles and ideals, o makatabang pud ni siya sa atong moral choices o para makabalo ta unsay dapat angay buhaton. Then rules nga kailangan atong sundon muna siya si kuan ethics and unsa atong himuon. Ethics and laws. Ethics involves what is right. So ethics muna siya sige nang tagbalik-balik ug unsay sakto ug dili. Ang law involves unsa gyud ang atong sundon. Muna ang law. Morality, principles or habits about right and wrong behavior, how people should act, unsa gyud ipakita sa tao. Muna ang values. The main idea, so atong main idea sa ethics and morality tells us what's right. So pareho sila nga mag-ingon sa tao og unsay sakto o ang dili. While law muna siya atong dapat sundon. In module 2 we will talk about the rights and duties. So we have the kinds of rights. We have natural rights. Muna siya based on natural law or mga right to life nato. Sa right to education muna ang natural rights. Next is human rights based on human positive laws. Ang example ani kay mga human rights, mga karapatan nato, mga karapatan nato, human rights na ni nato, naa ni nato atong pag-anak nato, nato ang human rights, atong right nga mubuhat ug unsay atong buhaton. Then next is civil rights promulgated by the state, like for example right to form association, like mga grupo like mga fraternities, run for public office and due process. Next is alienable rights can be surrendered, like right to travel, operate a business, pwede ka makipag-travel, pwede ka mohimo og mga business, muna siya ang alienable rights. Next is inalienable rights cannot be surrendered, like right to life, marry, and education. Juridical and non-juridical. Ang juridical rights, muna siya ang nag-base siya sa balaod. Then, ang non-juridical are based on virtue. Right of jurisdiction, muna ang last. Power of the authority to govern and make laws for constituents. So, muna ang power sa authority nga maghimo og balaod. Muna ang mga rights of jurisdiction. Then let's proceed to the Article 3 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution provides for the Bill of Rights. So ako lang ni summary ang Bill of Rights para in short like kanang mas masabtan pa ninyo from section 1 to section 2. Section 1, so ang section 1 para ni sa mga equality sa atong mga atong mga life. Everyone is equal under the law. Section 2 is privacy. Sa atong privacy sa atong usa ka animalay, our home and belongings are protected from unreasonable searches. So nagyud tay karapatan nga mo ayaw ug magpa-search og mag-search man gani sila, kailangan sila mag-present og search warrant. So section 3, your private communication are protected, like yes, for example, naka sa prisuhan, tas nibisita ka, nakagibisita nga niriso, tas tanay isa ka guard nga magbantay sa inyo, pero wala na siya katungod nga mag-apil-apil, o unsa mayang madunggan, wala ra na. Bawal na sila maminaw, in short ka na. Then, section 4, freedom of speech. So, from the word, natay katungod nga makipagsutorya, like for example kanang mga rally nang gitay katungod nga mag-express sa atong mga emotion ug sa atong mga mga comment about anang mga gobyerno. Then section 5, religion, we have the right nga sa mga religion and kailangan po na to respeto kung sa sila nga religion. Then section 6, which is we can travel, we can live and travel where we want unless restricted by law. Section 7, we have the right to access public information. Section 8, we have the right to form unions, like kanang mga frat. Then section 8 mo to section 8. Then section 9, the government can take your property without fair treatment. So ang section 9, dili ni siya property shall be taken for. So ang kani siya ang section 9 kay pwede ni makuha sa government ang imong property para ilang gamiton, then bariyan lang dayon kanila. Then section 10 is no law impairing the obligation contracts shall be passed. So laws can make mess without existing contracts. Then section 12, rights when arrested, kung ma-arrest gani ka, you have the right to remain silent and right to have a lawyer. And if you don't have, the public attorney or public offices provide you a lawyer or a public lawyer, and even if you are poor. Then, no torture muna siya sa ato ang balaod. Wala gi torture nga mahitabo. Dapat lagi na torture, pang torture ng mga rape mo. Yes. And next is section 13, bail. You can be released on bail before trial. So kani siya pag human og trial, pwede ka mag-bail. So ang mag-bail kay like bail except for serious crimes. Then section 14, due process. We have the right to have fair trial. And section 15, habeas corpus. We have the right to challenge illegal detention or can't be suspended except extreme causes. Section 16, which is the speedy trial, we have the right to a quick trial. And 17 is self-incrimination. We can't be forced to testify against yourself. So dili ta maka force og testify og witness atong kaugalingon. And 18, political beliefs. We can't detain just for your belief, no forced labor. 19, cruel punishment, no excessive fines or cruel punishment. And 20, that dili ta makulong tungod kay sa atong pagpangutang. Dapat atog yun ang tarian. And 21, double jeopardy, you can't be tried twice for the same crime. So dili ta kasuhan o twice nga crime nga atong nahitabo sa una o karon. Siya din. Ex facto laws, muna ang section 22. Laws can punish action that were legal when committed. Then let's proceed to module 3. Let's proceed to Module 3, which is the title is Human Rights and Ethics in the Law Enforcement Setting. So, what are human rights? They are basic things everyone deserves just for human being like treated fairly and respect. So, human rights muna tong katungod sa usa ka tawo nga mabuhi and fair and with respect. They have keep governments from having too much power. So, nganong importante man ang human rights? Everyone should have the same rights. Bahalag mapubliman ka or madato. Kailangan fair gyud ka og trato. And these rights are connected. So, you can have freedom if you are hungry. And you can't have food if you are not free. All rights are important. So, for example, og makulong man ganing dato, so ilag yun ng servan ang ilang prisons di kay bariyan sila, buyan na din na sila. Ano siya? Ang atong rights. Kailangan pantay, equal. So, what? So, what is UDHR or Universal Declaration of Human Rights? So, kani siya, it's like a list of rights that everyone in the world should have. So, everyone can be free and equal. Let's proceed to command and supervisory official. So, I'll explain this for you. So, first one is provide in the service training to ensure that all police officials understand fully their legal powers and the legal rights of citizens. So, it's not for police leaders. Kailangan ang police know how to handle complaints about human rights abuses. Next is train the officer well so they understand the law and people's rights. So, kailangan gyud tranado gyud ang mga pulis para kabalo sila og unsay mga balaod o mga rights sa mga people. And next is lead by example, treat everyone with respect. Next is investigate all complaints of human rights violation. Have clear rules that follow international human rights standards. Have a code of ethics for your police force. Next is policing in democracies, human rights standards. So first is protect people's safety and their rights. Kailangan protektahan gyud nato ang mga tawo, mga ka-police. Ilang rights. The police should be independent and follow the rules. So kailangan independent gyud ang mga police og musunod sila sa balaod, di kay hatagan sila kwarta, muliko na dayon. The police should present and serve the whole community. So tanan gyud kailangan nila i-serve sa mga police, di kay ang mga dato ra or ang gobyerno. Police can't be forced to support a political party. Like kana lagi like mga political party like taga-tagaan sila na og mga kwarta para kani inani ana. Then police must protect the rights of all political groups. Everyone has rights, but those rights can be limited by law to protect others and society. Then, let's proceed to Module 4. The lesson title is Ethical Issues and Dealing Victims of Crime and Suspects. So, human rights standards. Everyone has the right to freedom and safety. So, kita gyud tanan natay karapatan nga like natay freedom and safety. No one should be arrested or detained without good reason. So, ang pangkadua, walay rason nga dakpon ka tungod kay wala kay mga rason or like gidakop lang kanila kay trip lang nila. Next is you can only lose your freedom if the law allows. So, mawad-an lang ka og rights if na sa og ignon ka na sa laws or balaod. If you are arrested, you must be told why. Kung dakpan manggali ka or maares, kailangan ignan yun ka sa mga nagdakop sa mo nga unsay mga rason nga nung inana og inani. Next is you must be brought before a judge quickly. Next is a judge must decide if your arrest is legal and release you if not. So kani siya ang judge bayad yun na sila kay ila kang mag-decide sila og unsay nahitabo gyud og unsay karapat dapat, then og ila ba kang i-convict ba kanila or i-release kanila. You have the right to a trial with a reasonable time or to be released. Next is being held while waiting for trial should be rare. The police must keep a record of every arrest, including why you arrested, when. So, ang kaning police, kailangan kung pag-arrest ana nimo, kailangan naka-record na siya ug kanusa, unsay oras ug asa. And you have the right to talk a lawyer din. Kani siya, kung usa ka kuan, accused person, you have the right to have a lawyer. Next is the key ethical considerations. We have the presumption of innocence. Treat suspect fairly until they proven guilty. So, kaning mga suspect nga wala pa na-prove lang ka guilty, i-treat na sila sakto taman sa mailhan na sila o guilty ba sila or dili. Fair treatment and due process ensures suspects have their rights, including a lawyer and fair trial. So, kaning fair treatment and due process, kailangan nga ang suspect kay na siya kaugalingon na lawyer para ang kanang lawyer mo na mag-ingon siya ha o iyang ipang ingon siya ang mga angay nga istorya. Then, avoiding discrimination and bias. Don't be biased because based on race, religion, and gender. So, kaning avoiding discrimination, dili ta mag-matter if foreigner ba na siya or mga dili na to ka color or unsa. Then, confidentiality and privacy. Keep suspect information private. Kailangan naka-private ra gyud na ang information sa suspect. Truthfulness and integrity. Be honest with suspect. Kailangan maging honest ka sa mga suspect. Witnesses and the public. Balancing public safety and individual rights. Make ethical decisions that protect both. Then let's proceed to Module 6 of CRI 164. Lesson title, para makabalo mo, Foundation of Police Force. Learning targets are at the end of the module. Students will able to expound the canons of police ethics and professional police principle. And number 2, recite the law enforcement code of ethics. So, diri sa Module 6, peoples are public officials. So, muni siya ang mga public official, muni ang mga police with the power to arrest. So, nani sila kakayahan nga mo aresto usa ka tawo. The Philippine or the PNP, Philippine National Police, is a community-oriented agency responsible for peace, order, and public safety. So, foundation of police ethics, professional conduct, ethical standards, and honesty are essential for police officer. Kasi kailangan professional conduct sila, kailangan mga prunes sila, professional, then mga ethical, kablos lang sa mga saktog, mga mali, o mga honest po ni sila. Police enforce the law, sila yung mag-enforce sa law, ang mga police, and violating those, and for those who violating the laws, the authority they represent. The canons or 11 of police ethics, we have primordial police responsibility. The main goal of the police is to prevent crime, protect citizen, and muna siya. Ang kaning primordial police responsibility, muna siya ang main goal nila kay mag-prevent og crime. Then protect ang mga citizens and i-uphold ang law. Next is limitation of police authority. Police must know the limits. Kabulo sila unsay limit silang mga power. They must be aware that the people give them power. They must respect their democracy, not abuse the power. Ilang irespeto nilang democracy, di kay ilang iabuso ang ilang power. Knowledge of the law. Police must study the laws carefully. Kailangan ilag yun ang tunan ang balaod para makabalo sila unsay sakto o dili. They must understand their responsibilities. They must know the laws and their jurisdiction. Use of property means police must choose ethical methods. Don't violate laws or disrespect public safety. If a method is wrong, don't use it even if it seems helpful. So, kaning use of property means like kanang kailangan ilag yung himon ug unsay sakto bahalag ilag ginang gihimo pero di sakto, di dya po na sakto para sa mga police. Cooperation with public officials. Police should work with other officials regardless of politics. So, ang example na ni kay like mga police o PDEA magkinahubanay o ang mga uban pa nga police nga mag like kanang mga rally ilang protektahan ang ug sobra na gyud ang ilang rally. They must be careful when not handling property and not engage in illegal action. So, dapat mag-an sila sakto-sakto ra pod. Proper conduct and behavior. Police should act as a role as models. Kailangan role model yun nato na sila mo gining daghan magpulis kay tungod kay ina role model sila lagi kay nindot sila lang taon. They should build trust and inspire confidence. Kailangan na sila trust sa mga tao para saligan sila. Then, let's proceed to Module 7. The Code of Professional Conduct and Ethical Standards. So, neglect of duty or nonfeasance, muna siya ang failing to do something you're required to do. Muna siya, for example, imong duty, kailangan muna imong himo. Like, for example, naka sa duty, pero wala kay gihimo. Muna, failure to do duty. Muna, nonfeasance. Irregularities in the performance of duty, actions that might be lawful but have done ruin. Muna siya ang improper way of executing your duty. For example, naay kawatan, tas muna imbis imo rang ipahunong tas imo istoryan imo nung gipusil diret. So muna siya ang improper way of executing your duty. Then ang malfeasance, doing something you're not supposed to do. Malfeasance kay muni ang mga butang nga dapat dili unta nimo buhaton. Misconduct, wrongdoing, muna ang mga wrongdoing na to. Then incompetence, lacking the skills to do your job. So ang incompetence muna siya ang like lack ka sa mga for example like kanang mga police atong i-relate sa mga police, like for example ugnay mga gukod-gukod imong dakpon ang suspect unya dako magkagtiyan kisa matoy paggukod ana ang ero. So kailangan na kay incompetence, dapat sakto-sakto ray mulawas ug unsa pa man. Next is oppression, cruel or unfairly treatment, abusing of authority. So, ang oppression, muna siya ang pag-abuso nimo sa imong power. Tungod kay na imo na dayong gamit-gamiton, like, kana, nabakoy kuhan, misi pakulong tikana. Next is disloyalty to the government, abandoning or trying to overthrow the government, like, imong taklikuran ang gobyerno. Siguro, mag-NPA na sila, sorry. Then, violation of law, being convicted of a crime. So, nakakumit kag crime. Corruption, misusing your position for personal gain. Ano siya, mga corruption lang gigamit ilang duty or ilang trabaho para maka-gain sila. Like, for example, like kanang mga kurap-kurap, ilang gigamit lang karon mga kuha sila kwarta para mga DPWH. Then next is the key points. We have the impartially, to do your job without bias. Accountability, take responsibility for your actions. Confidentiality, protect sensitivity information, courtesy and respect, treat everyone politely, lawful orders, obey lawful orders, community relation, work with the community, prohibition of discrimination, don't discriminate, prohibition of corruption, don't be corrupt, use of force, use only when it is necessary. So those are the key points